Okay, so have you ever set a big goal, like a New Year's resolution, or maybe tried hard to break a really ingrained bad habit?
Oh, yeah. Or maybe tried to quickly fix a relationship that felt like it was, you know, falling apart.
Exactly. And chances are, if you're like most people, it didn't quite stick.
Right. Failure in those areas is pretty common, unfortunately.
Well, today we're diving deep into what might be the single reason why that failure happens so often, and maybe more importantly, the one tool needed to actually make change last.
We're talking about something called the farm
The
theory.
farm theory.
Yeah, and
Yes.
this concept, it really comes from Stephen Covey's classic book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's not one of the habits itself, but more like the
Okay.
the foundation, the soil, everything else grows in.
Got it. So our mission today is to figure out why that quick fix mentality just seems doomed from the start, trying to stop being critical overnight or get your teenager to suddenly change or become a super disciplined person instantly.
Right. Why does that almost always fail? The source material argues it's because we're ignoring a natural law, basically.
A natural law, like gravity.
Sort of, yeah, for human growth.
Yeah.
The idea is that trying for instant, drastic change, it just doesn't align with how humans actually develop and learn.
The source actually puts a number on it, doesn't it? Like, how often does real instant change happen?
It does. It suggests that those dramatic overnight transformations, they count for less than maybe 5% of life experiences.
Wow, only 5%.
Yeah, so for the other 95%, change is gradual. It takes time, consistent effort, which brings us back to this farm theory.
Okay, let's unpack that metaphor then. Farming, agriculture. Why that specific analogy?
Well, think about actual farming. You can't just toss some seeds on the ground in spring, right?
Right.
And then say, go off and do nothing all summer. No watering, no weeding, ignore pests.
And expect a big harvest in the fall. That sounds ridiculous.
Exactly. Ludicrous when you think about farming, yet that's often how we approach changing ourselves, our habits.
Hmm. So give me an example. How does that apply to, say, reading a self-help idea?
Okay, so you read something powerful, maybe an article saying, criticism destroys relationships, and you agree with it. Intellectually, you get it.
Yeah, you plant the seed of, I should stop criticizing.
Right. But then what? If you don't actually do the work, the daily practice, noticing when you do criticize, figuring out why, planning how to respond differently next time, that seed just withers.
We agree with the idea, but we skip the tools of practice, as the source puts it.
Precisely. We skip the farming part. The farm theory says real change needs a process.
And that process involves specific things.
Yes, 3 key things according to the source. First, dedicated time and actual planning. Second, consistent practice and implementation, actually doing it.
Okay.
And third, and this is the one most people skip, a system for review and evaluation. Looking back, seeing what worked, what didn't, and adjusting.
Ah, that review part. That sounds like the toughest bit. It requires like real honesty with yourself.
It does. It forces you to confront reality.
So let's take that criticism example again. Say someone's been critical for, I don't know, 15 years. How does the farm theory make stopping that actionable week by week?
Okay, so it's not about just trying not to criticize. It's about a system. Maybe this week, your plan is just to notice the feeling before the words come out. That's the practice.
Just noticing. Okay.
Then maybe Sunday night, you review. When did I slip up? What triggered it? What's one small thing I can try differently next week? Maybe it's pausing for 3 seconds.
So it's a cycle. Plan, act, review. Correct.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the watering, the weeding, the tending required by the farm theory. It's continuous.
But that sounds like a lot of work, especially for something deep-seated like 15 years of criticism. The source suggests this could take, what, a year? 2 years? Maybe more.
It absolutely could. Deeply rooted patterns require significant, sustained effort to overwrite. Constant practice, planning, reminding
The
yourself.
level of commitment, that's where people fall off, isn't it? How do you maintain that?
Well, this ties into another core idea from the source, the difference between production and production capability, often called the PPC balance.
PPC balance. Okay, break that down.
So production P is the result you want right now, like stop criticizing today. That's the immediate output.
Right, the quick fix.
Exactly. But production capability, PC, is your underlying ability to produce that result consistently, long term. It's building the habit, the character, the willpower, the perspective.
Ah, so a self-help tip might give you a quick technique.
Right. It gives you a fish, as the saying goes. But the farm theory is about building your PC, learning how to fish. building the soil quality, strengthening the roots. You can't rush soil quality.
And if you only focus on the quick result, the P, without building the PC,
The production eventually collapses. The capability wasn't there to sustain it.
that makes a lot of sense. And this applies not just to changing ourselves, but also to influencing others, like spouses, kids, colleagues.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can't expect them to change instantly just because you had one good talk or used the right technique.
Yeah.
Influencing others also requires that long-term, patient, farm theory approach from your side.
You have to cultivate the relationship, the trust, the understanding. It takes time for their capability to shift too.
Exactly. Which leads us to a really crucial question. What is this farm theory actually changing at the deepest level? What's the ultimate harvest we're aiming for?
Good question. It's not just stopping a bad behavior, is it?
No. According to Covey, the single most important target of the farm theory is changing our mental perspectives, our paradigms.
Mental perspective. So the way we fundamentally see the world and our place in it.
Precisely. The core assertion is, if you want to change your external conditions, your job, your relationships, your finances, your health,
Yeah.
you must first change your internal perspective, your thinking.
So if I think problems just happen to me and I'm a victim of circumstance.
That's a reactive perspective. The farm theory aims to cultivate a proactive perspective. The belief that you are the primary creative force in your own life, that you choose your response regardless of what happens.
That's a huge shift. And that explains why the source is kind of critical of a lot of modern self-help, right? Calling it first aid or painkillers.
Exactly. Because many quick fix approaches focus on superficial actions or techniques, the P, without addressing the underlying perspective, the PC.
Like telling someone who yells at their kids to just take deep breaths.
Right. That might work once or twice. It's first aid. But if the underlying perspective, maybe impatience or a belief that controlling kids requires yelling, hasn't changed through that slow farming process.
The yelling comes back under stress because the root cause wasn't addressed.
Precisely. The farm theory isn't about just implementing a technique. It's about the deep, sometimes slow work of changing the fundamental way you think and see.
So for someone stuck in procrastination, maybe the first aid is use a timer. But the farm theory work is digging into why they procrastinate fear of failure, perfectionism, and then cultivating a new perspective, like progress over perfection.
Yes, exactly that. Planting new thought seeds, weeding out the old limiting beliefs, reviewing your internal dialogue consistently. It takes time. But accepting that necessity, accepting the farm theory, that's the path to change that actually lasts.
Okay, so if the farm theory is the engine, how does it power the actual 7 habits? How do we use it to grow those habits?
Great question. Covey sees the habits as building on each other, moving us through stages of maturity. And the farm theory is how you navigate those stages. He outlines 3 main stages of personality growth.
3 stages, like stages of life.
Exactly. They mirror human development: dependence, independence, and interdependence.
Dependence. Okay, that sounds like childhood.
It is. In this stage, the personality relies heavily on others. You need people around you to solve your problems, cheer you up when you're down, validate your choices, give you constant motivation. You feel like you need others to function.
And the source points out that even as adults, many of us are still stuck in dependence in certain areas of our lives, right?
Oh, absolutely. Maybe financially, waiting for a bailout, or emotionally, needing constant external validation, or maybe in our careers, waiting for someone else to give us the big break. We might look independent, but functionally, we're waiting to be rescued.
And the first 3 habits, be proactive, begin with the end in mind, put first things first, these are designed to break that dependency.
Yes, they're grouped together as the habits of personal victory. Their entire purpose is to move you from dependence to the second stage,
Independence.
independence.
Self-reliance.
Right, this is where you become your own person. You take responsibility. You solve your own problems. You manage your own time, your own emotions, your own finances. You don't need constant external propping up. You rely on yourself.
And that journey from needing others to relying on yourself, that's where the farm theory is crucial. You can't just decide to be independent overnight.
Precisely. It has to be cultivated, grown, day by day, using that plan, act, review cycle. It takes time and effort to build that internal strength and discipline.
Okay, so you achieve independence, personal victory. What's next? Is that the end goal?
Not quite. According to Covey, independence is essential, but it's not the highest level of maturity. Once you're truly independent, you're ready for the third stage.
Which is interdependence.
Yes, interdependence or mutual reliance. This is the stage of group victory, achieved through habits 4, 5, and 6. Think win-win, seek first to understand, synergize.
So this is about relationships and teamwork.
Exactly. But it's effective teamwork built on a foundation of strong, independent individuals. An interdependent person has the self-mastery to connect deeply, cooperate effectively, and create outcomes greater than the sum of the parts. They can leverage relationships positively.
Because you can't really achieve synergy or win-win if you're still dependent, right? If you need the other person too much.
You got it. Dependency in relationships leads to demanding, clinging, or manipulating, not true cooperation. Independence is the prerequisite for healthy interdependence.
Makes sense. And then there's the seventh habit.
Right. Habit 7, sharpen the saw. This is the habit of renewal. It's about consistently taking care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, so you have the energy and capacity to keep practicing the other 6 habits effectively.
It's like maintaining the farmer and the tools, not just the field.
Perfect analogy. It keeps the whole system running smoothly. It's the ongoing maintenance required by the farm theory.
The biggest takeaway for me here seems to be how internal this all is. Change starts inside.
Absolutely. The source emphasizes this powerfully. You could be sitting in the exact same physical room, same job, same relationships. But if you've genuinely shifted your internal perspective through this farming process,
Your entire experience of that reality changes.
completely, your thinking changes, and as a result, your actions change. How people respond to you changes. The opportunities you see change. Everything shifts. But it starts with accepting that deep change requires that diligent, patient farm theory work on your perspective.
No shortcuts.
No real lasting shortcuts. Anything less is likely just first aid.
Okay, so that was our deep dive into the farm theory, the essential process, really, for any kind of lasting personal change. We saw why quick fixes fail, that expectation of instant results just isn't how growth works.
And we saw the tool for success. This farm theory requiring time, consistent practice, and that crucial step of review and evaluation, all aimed at fundamentally shifting our core mental perspectives.
Yeah, from the inside out.
So as you think about all this, maybe consider those 3 stages again: dependence, independence, interdependence. The big work for most of us often starts with really moving out of dependence in key areas. So ask yourself, where in your life, maybe with money or handling difficult emotions or taking initiative on problems, are you still waiting for someone else? Still dependent on external factors for solutions, or even just for happiness or motivation?
That's a challenging question.
It is. And then think about the farm theory. What's the absolute smallest seed of proactive effort, of planned practice and review that you could realistically plant today to start cultivating genuine self-reliance in that one area?